So, hello students, a very good morning to all, and I am back with three new important current affairs of 18th of April. So, without any delay, let's start our discussion. So today, three important topics are there. First is about the state of India's bats report. So here we shall be discussing very important facts about the bats, because already a question has been asked about India's flying fox, which is a category of bats. We shall be discussing the status, how they are being endangered, how habitat has been destroyed, etc. Second important article is about the Constitution 131st Amendment Bill 2026, which was in news for last 1 or 2 weeks. So finally, it was defeated. So we shall be discussing the background. We shall be discussing why it was defeated, etc., etc. And last article is about now India has become the sixth largest economy. Earlier, that status was fourth largest, fifth largest. Now it has slid down to sixth largest economy. So we shall be discussing some of the important facts, that how these things are decided, that whether any country is at which rank of how much largest economy it is. So here our first important article is about state of India's bats 2024-25. So this was the first ever national assessment about the bats, and there were very serious highlights, serious threats, neglects which are being presented in this article. So first of all, let's discuss what the report has given us, what is the status of bats in India. So first important thing for you is that bats are the largest group of mammals in the country. That means India has around 135 species of bats overall in the country, and still, even if they are the largest mammals in the country, they are being neglected. How they are neglected? Because we don't have sufficient amount of data related to bats, and if we don't have sufficient amount of data, then how can we conserve them? So this was the first thing, that though they are the largest group of mammals, around 135 bat species, still we do not have sufficient amount of data, because various bat species are still unassessed in India. So this report, the state of India's bats, the state of India's bats report highlights a serious data gap. How it highlights? It says about 35%, 35 species are either unassessed or data sufficient. So see, if you are not assessing anything, that means you are not officially recognizing anything, and if you are not officially recognizing, then how can you do conservation efforts? How can you take the conservation efforts? Now, important thing here to note is that who has released this report, the State of India's Bat Report. So it was released by Nature Conservation Foundation and Bat Conservation. So it was released in collaboration of Nature Conservation Foundation as well as Bat Conservation. Now, IUCN has also described some of these species. IUCN has classified these species. So, of these 135 bat species, around 16 are endemic to India. That means they belong to India, they are restricted to India. So, 16 species are endemic, as well as 7 species are classified as threatened by IUCN. Next thing which is highlighted is that the spread of these bat species is not even in India. It's very uneven. For example, if we talk about Indian subcontinent, here we have Himalayas and here we have Northeast India. So here bat species are mainly concentrated in this region, like Meghalaya, West Bengal, Assam. So mainly the concentration is not even, and here in eastern and northeastern India, mainly they are found. That means the conservation efforts must be mainly taken by the governments of these regions. Now, quickly let's discuss about the bats, because these are some of the important facts which can be directly asked, because already, as I have said, one PYQ has been asked related to the flying foxes. That's why. So here, first important thing to note here is bats are the only mammals which are capable of true flight. So see, first thing to note here is that bats are not birds. Bats are mammals. And birds have the primary characteristic to fly. But since bats are not birds, we are not expecting them to fly. So here, important thing is bats are the only mammals who are capable of true flight. True flight means flying like birds. So though they are mammals, but they are capable of true flight. First important thing. Second is they are known for hanging upside down. See, as I've already said, that bats are not birds, because how birds are flying? Birds have the capability to uplift themselves, and they can flap their wings and they can fly. But since bats are not original birds, so they don't have the capacity to uplift themselves from the ground. So it is very convenient for them that they are hanging upside down. They just drop themselves and they start flying. So this is the important reason why bats hang upside down, so that they can easily fly, because they cannot uplift themselves like a bird. Now, second thing to note here is most bats use echolocation. Echolocation means they use high frequency radio waves to communicate with other bats, to navigate or to find their prey. So how this will work? These high frequency radio waves, which are not detected by human beings, human beings cannot hear in this range. So they will send these high frequency radio waves. These radio waves will get reflected from the object, and hence bats will know the exact location of the prey or the exact location of anything where they want to go. So this is the meaning of echolocation. So bats can hear or bats can communicate through high frequency radio waves, as well as they can locate their prey, or they can locate any insect or fish using echolocation. Next thing is, there is a myth that bats are blind. But no, bats have a very good capacity. They have very good eyesight. Along with that, some people also think that bats cannot hear. So just now we have discussed about echolocation. That means they are using the sound waves. They are using high frequency radio waves to communicate. So neither bats are deaf, neither bats are blind. They have very good eyesight, as well as they can easily hear also. Now, India or all over the world, the bats have different variations in size. Like the very tiny bat named is the bumblebee bat. And some of the largest flying bats are the flying foxes. The question which UPSC has asked. So flying foxes are the type of bats. So their wingspans up to 2 meters. Now, if we talk about their diet, what all bats eat. So basically there is no single category that we can say that bats are herbivorous or bats are carnivorous. Basically some of the bats are herbivorous. So herbivorous bats generally eat fruits. So from fruits also, what they will do, they will extract the juice and they leave the pulp behind. Some of the bats are carnivorous. Some of the bats are carnivorous, so they eat small insects, small fishes, etc. And some of the bats are the ones who feed on blood. So basically, mainly these kind of bats are not found in India. Basically, you can see in the North American regions, these kind of bats who feed on blood. So these were the basic things about the bats which you should know for exam. Now briefly discuss about the ecological significance of bats, because some of the people kill bats only based on the myths that they are not good for the environment and they are not overall good. So that's why it's important to discuss the ecological significance also. So first significance is they play a role in maintaining ecosystem. How they maintain ecosystem? First thing they do is the pollination of plants, and mainly the plants who are blooming in night. So mainly it helps in the night blooming plants. Second important thing for the ecosystem, what they do is the seed dispersal. So what is the significance of seed dispersal? If any bird or if any animal is dispersing seed, that means they are contributing in the expansion of forest. So hence in this way forest can also be regenerated. So these are the some of the roles through which it is maintaining the ecosystem. Now, second thing is they are the natural pest controllers, because as I've already discussed, some of the bats are carnivorous also. So they feed on small insects, they feed on small fishes. So because of that, they can eat the harmful insects which might harm the our agricultural crops. So that's why they are the natural pest controllers also. Important thing to note here is even the bad droppings which we call as guano droppings, they are the waste material for bats, but they are good for the soil fertility, and if soil fertility is good, hence the crop yield will be good. Hence, in indirect way, they help the agriculture also. They are the natural pest controllers, as well as their droppings will enrich the soil. Now, because of all these roles, bat is considered as the keystone species. UPSC can ask a very simple question. Consider the following species 1, 2, 3, 4. How many of the above species are considered as keystone species? So, for that, you must know the concept of keystone species. These are the species, if their population decline, then it can severely disrupt the ecological balance. So, these are the keystone species. And from today's article, we now know like tigers, like lions, these are the keystone species for that environment, for that grassland ecosystem. So here, bats are also considered as keystone species, important keystone species. Now, let's discuss about the threats as well as conservation efforts. So, see, the major threat for any animal, or no major effort for any animal or any bird, is the destruction of habitat. See, basically, bats live in the caves, in the closed areas, and because of mining, because of deforestation, all these things are being destroyed. That's why it is a major threat, and habitat destruction is a major threat for them. Second major threat is generally people hunt them due to fears or myths. Just now we discussed about the significance for the environment, for the agriculture, for overall ecosystem. But there are some myths which are related to bats, and hence people hunt them. And obviously because of the urbanization, sorry, their habitats are being destroyed. The lacking of conservation effort is, as we have already discussed, that in this report it is mentioned that there is lack of proper classification and there is lack of data related to bats. And if we do not have proper amount of data, and if we do not officially recognize the bat species, then how can we take the conservation efforts? This was the second important thing. Now let's discuss some of the issues related to bats, because there are various diseases of which there are various microorganisms of which the bats are natural carriers and they are causing diseases. So this is also important to know. So bats are known to act as the natural reservoirs of several zoonotic diseases. What are the zoonotic diseases? These are the diseases which can be transferred from animals to human beings. Animals to human beings. So whenever you read about any microorganism or any disease, you must read about this point, whether human to human transfer is only possible or whether it is a zoonotic disease. That means whether it can be also transferred from animals to humans. So these things you must note whenever you are reading about any microorganism. So this is important thing, that they are the carriers of several zoonotic viruses. Now, what is the meaning of they are carriers? That means virus is existing in the body of bats, but that virus is not affecting bats. But that virus can be transferred from bats to human beings. This is the meaning of natural reservoir. Because if it is infecting the bat's body, we cannot say that it is the natural reservoir. So it is not affecting the body of bats. It can be transferred from body of bats to another human being. Now let's discuss some of the important diseases which are related to bats. So these diseases are Nipah virus, Marburg virus disease, and certain coronaviruses. So Nipah virus, Marburg virus, and certain coronavirus, these are related with these type of viruses are naturally found in the bats. And how the transmission happens, how it can be transmitted. So as we know that bats, some of the bats are herbivorous, some of them are carnivorous. So if the human consumes the things which are contaminated by the bats, for example, if bat has eaten a particular fruit, it has sucked the juice and left the pulp behind. So the fruits which are contaminated by the bats, so they can cause or they can transfer these kind of diseases. Now, we must know the biological traits of bats, then it will be easy for us to understand that why they are able to cause the disease or why they are the natural reservoir. So, first important thing is they live in very large colonies, they have long lifespan, and they have large migratory patterns. So important thing to note here is, though since they have very long lifespan, that means the virus can exist in a particular body for long time. And if it is sustaining for long time, then hence it can cause the disease. Second thing is they have very large migratory patterns. That means they migrate a lot. And if they migrate a lot, that means they can cause the disease a lot. So this is important about the biological traits. Now, this was the question which I was talking about. This is the question of 2024 which was asked. So, the question was on the Indian flying fox. So, see, the statement 2 says that Indian flying fox feeds on the blood of other animals. So, for that, you must have a basic idea that no, what is the basic diet of bats. So, Indian flying fox is a type of bat, and mainly it feeds on fruits. Mainly, it is herbivorous. So if you had this idea, then you could have easily attempted this statement, because for this question it was not important that you must know both the statements, because here see the option C and D, even if you know any one option is incorrect, you could have easily attempted this question. So that's why these small facts you must focus upon. Now, a very important article, that is the Yes, this is the important article related to Constitution Amendment Bill, and that is the Constitution Amendment 131st Constitution Amendment Bill. So I think from past 2 or 3 weeks we are discussing about this amendment bill, and finally this bill has been defeated in Lok Sabha. Now it is important for us to know briefly about the background and why this bill was defeated, what kind of majority was required, and what was the point of opposition, means what was the reason because of which it was defeated. So let's quickly understand. See here, let us start from here. So first of all, if I talk about the 131 Constitution Amendment Bill of 2026. So basically, what was the purpose of this bill? What was the purpose of this bill? Its purpose was to increase the seats in Lok Sabha from it has to increase the seats in Lok Sabha from 550 to 850. So at present, Lok Sabha has 550 seats, and now it has to make those seats to 850. And this will include the seats in the seats of states as well as seats of various UTs. So this was the main objective of this bill. Now, as the news says, that bill has been finally defeated in Lok Sabha. Now, what was the reason why this bill was finally defeated in Lok Sabha? Reason was this was a constitution amendment bill which was to be amended under Article 368. And what all matters comes under Article 368? The matters which are related to federal disputes, the matters which involves both central government as well as state government, like fundamental rights, like fundamental duties, like the allocation, like the seats, like here we are changing the seats in the Lok Sabha. So it requires a federal issue. So it is a federal issue between center and states. So these all things require the constitutional amendment under Article 368. And if we talk about the amendment under Article 368, it requires a special majority. It requires a special majority. And what will be that special majority? It will be 50% of total strength of the House plus 2/3 of members present and voting. This must be the majority if we wanted to pass this 131 Constitution Amendment Bill of 2026. But recently what happened? At present, we have total strength in Lok Sabha as 528. And out of 528, only 298 people favored this bill, and 230 people were against this bill. And if we wanted to pass that bill, then we needed the support of 352 MPs, which we could not get. And because of this, this complete bill was rejected. This complete bill was defeated. And next important thing, what the government did, this bill was defeated. And as you know, in news, there were other two bills also. What were other two bills? One bill was related to delimitation, and other bill was related to union territories, union territory law bill of 2026. So if since this bill was defeated, the government has withdrawn these two bills also. So this was the overall news, this was the overall concept why all these things happened. Now quickly let's discuss why opposition, what was the opposition, that means why this bill was defeated in Lok Sabha. Yes, just a second. Yes. So basically, first of all, let's focus on the objective. What was the major objective of this 131st or 131 Constitutional Amendment Bill? So basically, it has two objectives. First objective was to redistribute. First objective was to redistribute the seats in Lok Sabha, and this redistribution must be based on 2011 census. And second, its objective was to implement the women reservation, because women already got reservation, the act was already passed, but implementation was not done till now. So second important objective was to implement the women reservation, and this thing was to be implemented in the upcoming Lok Sabha elections, and that will be in 2029. This was the major objective. Now why there was issue from the opposition? This was the major issue. See, opposition says we are not against this, that you are implementing the women reservation. Every party wants the reservation for women in Lok Sabha. Every party wants the women to come in to contribute in the legislation making and law making. But the thing is that government is linking women reservation with delimitation. This is the important thing why the opposition parties are against that bill. What government is doing? Government is linking the concept of women reservation. Government is linking this concept with the delimitation. That means government is saying first we will conduct a delimitation exercise, and then we will implement this women reservation concept. So this thing is not acceptable to the opposition. Why this thing is not acceptable? Here two important articles of the Constitution have to be focused. Here Article 81 of the Constitution as well as Article 82 of the Constitution. And before this, you must know one fact, that during the tenure of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, that means during 2001 to 2003, two things were established. What were those two things? First of all, the allocation of seats to the states will be based on the census of 1971, and the distribution of constituencies in a single state will be based on the census of 2001. This thing was already established between 2001 to 2003. Now, what the Article 81 and 82 says, that this arrangement will be frozen, this arrangement will be fixed until next census after 2026. That means the next census which will be done after 2026, before that this arrangement will be frozen. But now what government is saying? Government is saying that before conducting the census, we will conduct delimitation. But this thing is not right, because Constitution only says that after till the census after 2026, this thing will be fixed. After that, you will do delimitation and you can do any other thing. But here, before the census, only government is doing delimitation, and government is using 2011 census. So this thing is not justified. You only say, is it justified or not? government has to first conduct the census exercise, then government will know that what is the population of any state or not, because here the southern states will be at disadvantage because they have limited the population, and if you are using 2011 census data, it will be disadvantage. And one more thing which was highlighted by the opposition and which is also important for you to know is that opposition is saying if this thing you are doing again for the other states, then it will be a disadvantage because already these things were happened in Jammu, Kashmir and Assam. Do you know what happened in Jammu, Kashmir and Assam? Here delimitation was conducted, and what government did, government divided it in Kashmir. For Kashmir and Jammu, what government did, in Jammu, you have just the population of around 20,000, and in Kashmir, you have population in lakhs. Here, what government did, government made just the one constituency for these lakhs of population, and for Jammu, you got the constituencies. Here, it is only one seat, and here you got many constituencies. So this was unfair for the people of Jammu Kashmir, right? So opposition is saying same thing. If you are doing here before conducting census, you are doing delimitation based on 2011 census, then it is discrimination and it is unfair for the other states in India. So this was the complete issue, why all these things are done. So here, what are the important things for you to know? Important thing for here to know is Article 368. You must know each and everything, that what type of issues are dealt under Article 368 and what majority is required to deal with the bills under Article 368. And overall, you must have an idea about the Constitution amendment bills. And one question which you have to answer in the comment section is that what kind of majority is needed for delimitation of constituencies? Delimitation of constituencies. Please tell me in the comment section what type of majority is needed, whether it is ordinary majority or whether it is special majority of first kind or special majority of second kind, because two kind of special majority we have. So this thing you have to give answer in the comment section. Important thing for you to read is Article 368. Second important thing is Article 81 as well as Article 82. These articles are very, very important for the exam, because just now I discussed about 81, 82, because government is violating the constitutional principles only. All these things are written in the constitution, but still government is violating. That's why you must know all these issues. Now, this is a very small article related to Indian economy. So recently, what happened? It is the article from Indian Express says Indian economy slid to sixth largest economy in the world, and which countries overtook it? Japan and UK overtook India. So earlier India used to be fourth largest economy. Now India is the sixth largest economy. Two countries overtook it. First is Japan, second is UK. And this thing was mentioned in the World Economic Outlook, which was released by IMF. So please remember this. Which agency releases World Economic Outlook? It is released by IMF. And what was the result? What has been mentioned in this report? India has slid to sixth largest economy, which earlier used to be the fourth largest economy. Which two countries overtook it? Two countries took. First is Germany and second is Japan. Now here, quickly we will discuss what all things are important for exam. So this I have already discussed, that the World Economic Outlook, which is released by IMF, has said that India is sixth largest economy, overtaken by UK and Japan. So at present, India's GDP is around $4.15 trillion, while for UK and Japan, it is slightly high. Now, briefly, let's discuss about the context. So earlier, when India used to be fifth largest, when India became fifth largest economy, so India took over UK. But now India slipped to sixth rank. Here, you must know the reason why these things were done. So how the IMF calculations are done? That means how IMF calculates this rank. See, two factors are considered whenever you calculate the rank of any country based on the economy. First is related to GDP in terms of domestic currency. So recently what happened? India revised its GDP. India revised its GDP, and after revision, so earlier the GDP of India was overestimated. But after the revision, what happened? Earlier, according to India, because based on the earlier estimates, earlier India's GDP was around 357 lakh crores. But after India revised its GDP based on the new base year, so now new GDP is around 345 lakhs crore. So based on the domestic currency also, our GDP went down. Second important factor was about the exchange rate, because as you know, because of the recent West Asia crisis, the Indian rupee is declining. Indian rupee is depreciating with respect to US dollar. And as we know, which two countries overtook? Just a second. Yes. So here, which two countries overtook? It was Japan and UK. So now rupee is already depreciating against dollar, and dollar is already appreciating against yen as well as pound. So rupee was already appreciating against dollar, and dollar was the basic standard based on which you calculate the rankings of economy. And this basic standard is already declining against yen and pound, which is related to Japan as well as UK. So based on all these things, you can say that GDP is declining, though maybe the GDP may not be declining in the real sense. But if we are using all these factors, where the GDP estimates are revised based on the base year and where the exchange rate is declining, so because of these things also rankings can decline. Now, a quick practice question for you. So give this answer in the comment section. Consider the following statements. First is, Kolar leaf-nosed bat is listed as critically endangered in the IUCN Red List. Second is, West Bengal has the highest number of bat species as per the Sol Bats 2024. That means the recent bat survey. The highest number of bat species is endemic to Gangetic Plains. So if we have not discussed anything, then search about these topics, try to give answer of this question. And if you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. So now please tell me which of these answers are correct, whether A, B, C, D. So you have to answer this question, and you have to answer one more question which I have asked, that delimitation requires which type of majority to be passed. So yes, these were the three important topics for today, and that's all from my side. Thank you.